Well, winter is coming, and so is our transfer window. But has priorities changed? Well. Hope you're safe and well. Russ on the West Ham Network. Go and check out the little morning show we did in terms of potentially again missing the Arsenal game, um, and also a little bit about Arsenal in terms of their injuries, in terms of team selection for the game on Thursday. Um, but an interesting article I read yesterday, in between building my massive Lego DeLorean from Back to the Future, was from Claret and Hugh. And according to Claret and Hugh, they suggest that our winter um, transfer priorities have changed somewhat in the last few days or last few weeks, really. Obviously, we're just about, I don't know, 5 days away from the transfer window opening, and it was long conceived that, or believed rather, that West Ham were going to be looking to bring in forwards, particularly a striker, and names were banded around. And I'll still talk about a couple of players we've been linked with. But it does seem that the relative success of Kudus, Bowen, and Paqueta as a front three has changed the winter signing priorities, based on their astonishing levels of performance in the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks, particularly. I mean, assisted by Lucas Paqueta, I mean, Kudus and Bowen have scored 23 goals between them. So the way the team is playing is a lot more fluid when they're playing together as a front three. So maybe the need for a striker is a lower requirement than one that maybe was 6 weeks ago, for example, and that may even wait until the summer. It's not, I still think if a decent striker came up, maybe on a loan signing, we'd probably look at that to complement the squad. But I don't think it's as a priority at the moment because of the fact that Bowen and Kudus scored, 23 goals between them so far this season already. I think also one thing that was picked up in the article was the need for the club to potentially bring in homegrown players as well to the club, particularly this winter, but probably more prevalent, I'd say, next summer potentially as well. The squad at the moment is 24, and it contains some British-based players from the academy as well. Obviously, you've got the homegrown quota and the academy quota, who rarely get any games, the likes of Connor Coventry, for example. And this is solely can be seen to ensure rules for homegrown academy players are observed within the squad numbers. Now, it's we've been linked with a number of overseas players, and indeed some of the players I'm going to talk about in a minute are overseas players. However, we've also equally probably been linked to the same number of players within the Premier League and within sort of the domestic league in England. And I think that's becoming increasingly clear with the likes of Kira, Cornet, Fornals, all potentially on their way out the club, and will then mean that there's slots available for more English-based or more homegrown-based players to be brought into the leagues. Someone like Danny Ings, for example, yes, he's homegrown, but there's been Southampton, I think Bristol City are interested in him as well. I think, and no, sorry, no, he's not. So Southampton interested, Bristol City are interested in Colin Coventry, and also we've got, Aaron Cresswell looks set to move on. But it is quite interesting, and I think actually the relative success at the moment of of Bowen, Kudus, and Paqueta has maybe changed the priorities, and maybe it is a case of the defence. I think if anything, it's shown over the last few weeks with the sickness bug, with a few drubbings we've had as well, We always seem to be able to score goals, but the defence needs a lot of work and it needs a lot of body, lot of bodies, particularly going into the Afcons with the likes of Naya Faged not being available for a good few weeks in January. Now, if we have a look at that, now there's reasons by so for example, this guy Tosin had a bio. I call him Tosin from Fulham. Now we've been linked to him before, but apparently we are now looking at him increasingly. Well, looking at him with increased interest. And according to 90 Minutes, us and Spurs want to sign him this winter. He's 26, as we know. He came through the ranks of Man City. Pep Guardiola had pretty much touted him as a really promising youngster back in 2016, I think it was, and he's played at the highest level. There's multiple options available to him, and staying in London is one of them. Whether that be Spurs or Spurs or West Ham. He's 6'5". He's a big lad, same height as Dinos Mavropanos. He's actually out of contract at the end of the season as well, and looks likely to leave Craven Cottage. Reports indicate that he's already told Fulham that he wants to leave and walk out in 2024, whether that be in the summer for nothing. But knowing Fulham, they want to sell him in January to try and get some money back. Obviously, the problem is, entering these last 6 months of his contract in January, there is a possibility of him signing a pre-contract agreement for a side outside of England. The like Atalanta, Roma, are also interested in him. So that may give him a head start in the pursuit for Tosin and leave us and Spurs to negotiate with Fulham, who would be left to decide whether to cash in now or let him run down his contract. I mean, he's quick. He's got good size. He's Premier League proven already. Can play on the ball as well, having come from the ranks, I said, at Man City's academy. I think he could be a good addition. Thinking about it sort of now, and he's homegrown as well. He's not an academy player, obviously, but he does count for the homegrown quota as well. So that could be one to watch out for. Another player that we've been heavily linked with, and apparently we're now front runners to get now, is the Chelsea left back or left wing back, Ian Martson. There's a guy I've been speaking about for the last 2 years, to be honest. And according to who's this one from? Several news sources will just say West Ham are growing in confidence that he's going to be our first January signing. Now, I think there's the whole homegrown side of it as well. I think there's no real competition for Emerson at the moment. It's not like he needs it because he's playing at a very high level. But at the moment, you've got Aaron Cresswell dropping out of favour this season. He'll be gone in the summer, if not maybe in January, if a club comes in for a little bit of money. Get him, sell him now or get nothing in the summer when he leaves. And I think we need to bring in another option. So when Emerson is injured or even maybe playing an Emerson. So we were knocked back in a summer approach for him with when what's his face Pochettino came in because he wanted to look at a whole squad and things like that. And so yeah, he was keen to assess him, but it's clear that he's only made 15 appearances for Chelsea in his career, and he excelled when he was on loan at Burnley. But apparently, we are front runners for him now. We reported interest from Barcelona now being dropped in favour of other positions within their team, most notably midfield, which could lead to renewed interest in Pablo Fornals potentially. So Ian Martson, I think, would be a very, very smart signing. Young, hungry. You'd get him 15 to 20 million quid, I'd say. And potential W money almost straight away. Very good player, and I think very quick, and the type of thing down the left-hand side we need. And there's a competition for Emerson, but also the possibility of doubling up on that left-hand side is pretty tantalising for me. Um, another play we've been linked with many times before. This is like a compilation. Is the by Leverkusen centre half Jonathan Tah. Now, according to XWHU employee, hope you well, X. Good to see you, my friend. We could return to our long-term defensive target now that apparently interest from Bayern Munich has been dropped. That's according to several media reports. And it's been made clear to X that they're looking at different priorities. And for example, someone like Jonathan Tah, he's obviously had interest from West Ham since he was, well, for a good couple of years we've been speaking about him. He's in his prime now. He's 27, and could finally make a move to West Ham or to England with the door wide open after the Bayern Munich interest decided not to sign him. The only issue at the moment is for the German international is the fact is he's a German international and it's a Euros year as well, and maybe playing in the Bundesliga is the best place for him. He's featured in all 15, or 15 of all the top Bundesliga games for Bayer Leverkusen this season. I mean, they've only played 16, so he's only not missed one game. Um, I mean, I think you know, being possibly the last time, well, that'd be the last time he plays a international tournament in Germany as well. He might want to hang around in Germany, particularly he's getting enough game time, maybe in Leverkusen. But money talks, and maybe Leverkusen looking to, flip him because he's 27. A bit like what we're going to probably, well, it seems that we might try and do with maybe one of our centre halves to the Saudi Pro League, and bring in a different model, so to speak. I think it'd be quite interesting. Personally, I'd rather go for something a bit younger now. I think um, I'd go for someone who could play, happy to play backup in order to then develop further. If you got Jonathan Tah in, he'd expect to be first team, particularly as I said in a Euros year, in a Germany international tournament as well. I just think it'd be the wrong time for him to move. I think his time would have been in the summer or the previous January transfer window, so he had a full year. But yeah, don't know how I feel. I'd rather us go and maybe spend some money on Hincape, for example, rather than Jonathan Tah. Hincape's a younger, left-sided as well. He could play left side if Naif when he's in the AFCONs, for example, and can play left back as well if needed. That would be my preference. But hey ho, I'm just a fat bloke, still stuffed from Christmas. And I'm going to say about forward. When I've spoken about defenders and stuff, forwards is I think if we get a good loan signing or a cheap deal for a forward, I think that will be an area we would look to pursue to increase our options on the bench, for example, or the options within the squad. And a guy I've been linked with proverbially over the last 3 transfer windows, I'd say at least, is the Paris Saint-Germain forward Hugo Ekitike. So but apparently, according to ESPN, sorry about that, little edit if you didn't notice, the Hammers want to sign him, and he's been completely exiled from the PSG squad. He's been claimed that he's not part of their squad anymore, and the race for his signature has heated up. He hasn't played for Paris Saint-Germain at all since August, so we've moved away with definitely in his best interest. He's a fantastic player. I mean, he's got absolutely blistering pace, good movement. He's a good finisher. When he gets a good goal opportunity, he'll have a good go at finishing it. He's 6'2", so he's reasonably strong in the air. He would fit a more his system, I'd say, in the way that he runs the channels. He would arguably an upgrade to Mikel Antonio, and if we got him, I think it'd be a really good signing. But it sounds like PSG just want him off the books. So whether it means a loan signing or very cheap, I don't think it'll be a cheap sale. So I imagine it'd be a loan to buy. Would be something they could be potentially interested in, and that to me would be a good use of resource for that, because it just gives you a different option as well. He reminds me a little bit of Yusuf En-Nesyri, who was the hard on for the last 4 transfer windows at least, but a younger model. I think he's 21, 22, so his formative years are well ahead of him, and I think he would be an interesting signing at West Ham potentially. And that's it, my friends. As I said, keep an eye on the channel. We may well have the Dave Moyes press conference. I've got to pop out, so maybe Anton will do it. If not, we'll do a little synopsis tomorrow. So don't worry about that. If you're new around here, as I said, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, my friends, and have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.